If you are comfortable today with what you were comfortable with yesterday, you're already in trouble. Nobody ever went uphill by accident. You have to be intentional with what you do and who you are. The more valid reasons you have to accomplish a dream, the higher the odds are that you will. The first question is your dream really your dream? And that's where we start, Ed. Because can I tell you something? If your dream isn't really your dream, ain't going to work.
Yeah.
So what I tell people all the time is we start off our life living someone else's dream, probably our parents. So what happens is a lot of people as adults, they never switch.
So true.
And so they're still living someone else's dream. They're putting on someone else's armor, and they just aren't going to achieve because it's not who they are. It's not their dream. So I think a lot of times we have clarity on where we should go, but there's a lot of emotion that holds us back.
Sure.
So what I did, and I think this is what will be really, hopefully this will be helpful to you. Whenever you're making a transition that's kind of out of your strength zone, or certainly brand new like this was, I ask a lot of questions and I listened. And so I just sit down with people like you that are highly successful in business, and I say, okay, let me ask you some questions. And I'd go and I'd ask you questions I learned from you, and I'd take a lot of notes, and I'd pull away and say, okay, now this is how Ed did it, and this is what Ed thinks, and I think I could apply this there. And I spent 3 years humbling myself and being very teachable and saying, I just want to learn, I just want to learn. Because I knew that I had the leadership principles, but principles that are good without application or connection are principles that aren't going to work for anybody. I'm responsible, Ed, to move on what I see today. There's a whole bunch of people, they're wanting to hold and not move because they don't see 3 days, 5 days, 2 years out, whatever. And what I'm saying is, it's kind of like the lights of a car. If I go to the parking lot at night, turn on the lights and say, oh my gosh, I can't go anywhere, I don't see my house. Well, no. Get in the car and start moving in the direction you're supposed to move it. And guess what? You only get about 300 feet of light.
Right.
You don't get you don't get 7 miles of light. You don't get to see your house. You got to utilize the light you got so that you can get to where you want to go. And so many people they're uncomfortable with that light because it's not long enough. And what's around the corner? And the whole issue is you don't know what's around the corner until you go around the corner.
Oh gosh, that's so good.
And so you just so you have to be very comfortable, which I am. You have to be very comfortable with traveling, not having all the answers.
So true.
But can I tell you something? The only way you get all the answers is to go all the way through.
Absolutely.
You don't get all the answers on this side. And so if I've got to have it lined up and straight and right, and I feel comfortable with it, then I'll never be the leader. And I really believe this, Ed. I believe a lot of leaders fall short because they're unwilling to take what they know now and act on it. And so therefore, they never get to know what they could know. No matter how gifted you are, no matter how committed you are, if you're out of position, you're not going to be successful. That's why everybody needs to find their sweet spot. What do I really do well?
Yes.
And on that, there's a point that I really want to make, and that is, I tell people, if you want to be highly successful, you've got to get into what I call the top 5%.
Okay.
So you got 100 people. You got 100 people here in whatever chosen profession you've got. You've got to be in the top 5.
Yes.
You got to get there, and you can only get to the top 5 if you're in your sweet spot. You can't get to the top 5 working on weaknesses. You can't get to the top 5 if I'm not in the area of my giftedness. So you got to find out what you're good at, because that'll give you. If you're committed and if you got good strategy and all this other, you got a good team around you, then that'll allow you to get in that top 5. And once you're in that top 5%. You're in good shape. You're going to do very well. And I tell that doesn't matter what your profession is, you've got to get in the top 5%, and you can only get in the top 5% if you're in your position, if you're in your sweet spot.
Got a question for you.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to me about just transforming my life? What would be the step you would take, the thought I should have, the action maybe I should take?
If you really want to be transformed, you have to live an intentional life. This is so simple, I don't want you to miss it. Most people don't lead their life. They accept their life. And when you accept your life, you are living on things that are not worthy of your time and effort and energy. The reason I want you to understand that is to go uphill, you have to be intentional. Nobody ever went uphill by accident. You've never read a book on accidental achievements. You have to be intentional with what you do and who you are. And so I would just say to you, find your strengths, become very intentional, and commit your life every day to it's all uphill. It's all uphill. And listen.
Please subscribe.